Welcome to Engaged Ownership's first skill builder. I'm Meredith Strait.
And I'm Nathaniel Squires. Today we'll be exploring how to make the meetings in your family business more effective. What are meetings?
Put simply, meetings are a means of coming together to share information, assess options, and make decisions. This may happen in the formal context of a board or family council meeting, or it may happen in a less formal context, such as a weekly debrief among managers or a team coming together to make decisions regarding a specific project. For family businesses, informal meetings also often take place among relatives at the dinner table.
Regardless of the setting, the decisions that come out of such meetings are what carry the business and its members forward, and the quality of your decision-making is dependent on the quality of information, discussion, and process that contributed to the decision. The better you are at sharing and utilizing information as a group, the more informed your discussions will be. Informed discussions, paired with good team process, improves decision-making and helps you better identify challenges and opportunities you might otherwise miss.
So how do you improve the process? By building the habits of effective meetings. The following questions will help you start to build the habits of good meetings. Generally, the more of these you can answer yes to, the more effective your meetings will be and the more effective your team will be. Did the members receive the information they needed in advance? Did they have time to review and evaluate the information prior to the meeting?
Giving people time to understand information, prepare questions, and consider options before you come together in a meeting improves the quality of your teamwork. You've worked hard to hire good people. Empower them by providing them the time and information they need to contribute their best work. Set the expectation that they do so for their colleagues as well. Distributing information prior to a meeting takes forethought and getting in the habit of thinking ahead of your meeting schedule. We'll talk more about this shortly. Staying ahead is often a stumbling block for family businesses that are tightly staffed with a focus on being quick and nimble. After all, when everyone is working hard on each day's important tasks, who will you put in charge of collecting, assembling, and distributing the meeting materials for a meeting that is 2 weeks away?
At the meeting, was there further education and an opportunity for robust discussion? Were all members' voices heard?
Often, one or several individuals will naturally speak more than others. Get in the habit of creating opportunities for all group members to contribute to discussion. Having more active voices in your conversations leads to more information being available, more diverse opinions considered, and fewer overlooked options. In short, you'll see more possible paths forward.
Are the minutes complete?
We'll take a look at how to record minutes a little later.
Was the decision communicated to others who require the information on a timely basis?
What are the next steps that came out of the meeting? Who needs to know this information so that they can move forward with their work?
Has the group considered and agreed to how they will make decisions?
In some situations, this will be straightforward. The team brings information to the meeting and discusses options. A manager or team leader then makes the final decision. In groups where no one person has the final say, agreeing on how a decision will be made is as important as the decision itself. In family businesses, these groups may include a family council, board, or other formal body. Options for voting include majority, supermajority, and consensus.
What about the meetings in your family business? How does your family business conduct its meetings? How is information shared? Do all team members have the opportunity to contribute to discussion? Is there preparation for meetings, or do they happen relatively spontaneously? Do you take note of what happens in your meetings?
Pause the video and take a few minutes to consider how your family business conducts meetings. Make note of things you think you do well and what you think you can improve.
Now we'll explore some tools that will help you put these building blocks into practice.
What is an agenda?
An agenda is an outline of what will happen in a meeting. It sets expectations and boundaries for a meeting.
We will review the results of A, B, and C. We'll discuss and decide on X, Y, and Z.
A good agenda is balanced. It has a mix of education, discussion and analysis, and decision-making. For example, if your meetings have lots of information sharing but little group discussion or decision-making, then the team will be well informed of their colleagues' efforts, but execution of projects may well stagnate. If your meetings are all about decision making and have little discussion, then the quality of your decisions will likely suffer. Over time, balancing these elements and creating a rhythm for team members to collaborate and be accountable within their respective responsibilities will help bring the best out of your human capital.
For meetings that span several hours, it is important to build in break time for members. The human brain needs opportunities to rest and refocus, particularly when switching between demanding topics. Try to allow for at least 15 minutes of break every 2 hours to make sure you're getting the most out of your human capital.
Who creates the agenda?
Generally, the group leader or senior-most manager holds the responsibility to create the agenda for a meeting. It is important to recognize that, because an agenda sets what will and won't be discussed in a meeting, the power to set the agenda is the power to control the meeting. This is a power to be used wisely. If the task of creating the agenda is delegated, it remains the responsibility of the team leader to work with the agenda creator to ensure that the team's work is supported by the agenda.
It is the responsibility of the agenda setter to balance the needs of the group by keeping the meeting focused on important topics, allowing time for discussion and consideration of important topics before coming to a decision, being responsive and discerning to team needs and wishes, and moving forward and maintaining momentum on critical topics.
Doing the work to create an agenda pushes you to be intentional and thoughtful about what the meeting will accomplish. Creating an agenda fights against the floating that can bog down group work.
Who's responsible for that? What did we decide were next steps? I thought we had come to a different decision. I thought you had presented that differently.
You've probably had a meeting where next steps were unclear, where everyone was not on the same page going forward. For this reason, it's important to keep minutes.
What are minutes exactly?
Minutes keep record of what happened in a meeting. Good minutes record all decisions made, make general note of substantial discussions, and include significant newly raised questions. Appoint a team member to record the minutes. The role can rotate or be vested in an individual according to the needs of the team. Depending on the level and complexity of topics discussed, or if there was a substantial difference of opinions expressed in discussion, the team may want to review the minutes before they are approved. Keep minutes and file them along with a copy of the agenda and materials distributed to the members. Remember that, for certain formal meetings such as an annual meeting of shareholders or a meeting of the board of directors, minutes may be required by law or best practice. What practices might improve the qualities of your meetings? What behaviors might benefit or impair your discussion about your family and your business?
A code of conduct is a tool to improve meeting dynamics and foster a healthy space for discussion and decision-making. Many family businesses benefit from developing a code of conduct to clarify expectations for how individuals will behave in meetings. A code of conduct is a living document. It can be created and adjusted to fit the needs of any group. There's no right or wrong here. It's all about what helps the group work well together, and not every group will need a code of conduct. A code of conduct manages both behavior and practices during a meeting. It can also establish the way a group interacts with the wider family business after a meeting. For example, your code of conduct might include:
hold all information you receive in confidence,
or
silence cell phones and other devices. Pause the video for 30 seconds to reflect on the following. Individually, jot down elements of a code of conduct that you feel would be important in your family business. Make a note of why you included each idea.
Where you hold a meeting can have a significant impact on the substance of the meeting.
For example, the CEO's office has a very different power dynamic than a hotel conference room.
You may want to consider holding family meetings or staff retreats away from the business. Getting out of everyday routine, setting, and power dynamics can help meetings such as these fulfill their broader purpose, which typically is different from routine staff or project meetings.
So what's all this for? Using agendas, keeping minutes, setting a code of conduct? The purpose of all of this is to get good at taking care of the little stuff that can gum up family businesses. Miscommunication, loss of focus, ineffective delegation of tasks, so you can focus on taking care of the big questions. When the little stuff is taken care of, you can begin to think more strategically about how you tackle the big questions for the future of your family business.
There is an opportunity for X over the next 5 years, but in order to seize it, we need to take care of Z first. How will we do that?
To start thinking ahead of your meeting schedule, ask yourself and your team,
over the coming months or years, what will we need to address? Who needs to be involved? What information will we require?
Over time, you can formalize this long-range meeting planning into an agenda cycle. An agenda cycle maps out, over the course of a year or more, when certain topics will be handled and how groups will coordinate their efforts to achieve their goals.
What if it's not a meeting? The lessons of good meetings extend throughout the business. Getting information to those who need it in a timely manner, making sure that relevant voices are heard, informing those who are affected by a decision, balancing the needs for education, discussion, and decision-making are all important practices, whether or not they happen in the context of a meeting. Ask yourself, are we doing these things well as a matter of course?
Ask your team, how can we make meetings better for you? They may need the meeting materials earlier than you are currently sending them out. They may ask that something like a code of conduct be put in place. They may ask to be able to contribute to the agenda. They may have any number of ideas that surprise and even delight you, because they have great suggestions to improve team collaboration, accountability, and engagement. So, how are you going to improve the meetings in your family business?